Hi, my name is Melissa Wilgis, and I am at Art and Bloom Gallery in beautiful, historic downtown Wilmington, North Carolina, with some of my latest photograms. A photogram is a type of a photograph made without using a camera. It's an analog process. No computers are involved either. So I do all of this work in a traditional black and white darkroom. I take a piece of photographic paper, lay it down flat, lay the subject directly on top of the paper. In this case, the subjects include some antique 4x5 glass negatives and also some found things that I have in my collection. So I lay the subjects flat on the paper, expose it to light from my enlarger, which is a piece of equipment that I use in the darkroom that provides light. That shines the light directly on top of the paper. Where light hits the paper, it turns black. Where light is blocked from hitting the paper, it stays white. And so I carry that piece of paper through the same chemical process that you would for a traditional black and white photograph. And the result is a photogram. So each one is handmade, each one is unique. There are no copies. Each one is going to be different from the next. So recently I was able to purchase these 4x5 antique glass negatives at a local auction, and it was a little bit sight unseen. I was able to look online and see a few samples, but I really didn't know what I was getting. So I was really excited when I picked them up, and there were close to 150 glass negatives just in a cardboard box. They weren't stored properly at all. They were in paper envelopes. They were kind of crumbling. There were some cracks. There were some nicks. But I kind of think all of the flaws add to the character of the images. And my work is far from perfect anyway. In fact, I kind of like to highlight imperfections when I'm doing things. So it just totally fits with my style of work and what I was doing. So I really had a lot of fun going through the negatives and trying to decide which ones to use for this series and how to match them up with different things from my current photogram collection. I brought some of the negatives with me. It's going to be kind of difficult, I think, to actually see the negatives themselves, but at least you can kind of get a feel for how they arrived for me. Some of them were in these envelopes, not all of them, and some of them have no written information on them, some of them do have information. This box of 150 negatives that I had, 15 of them were of an opossum. And he's a very well-fed possum, so I suspect that he's maybe the family pet, especially the fact that the boy is able to get so close to him and play with him like that. Those are my little notes that I made to myself. This is the contact print that I made, so once I had the negatives, again in my darkroom at the enlarger, I just set the negative flat on a piece of photographic paper and exposed it to light, and then again carried that paper through the chemical process to give me the contact print so that I could read the pictures a little bit easier and get a better feel for what I was looking at. It's kind of hard to do when you're looking at a negative. But this is one of my favorites because I just like that mischievous little boy and his pet opossum. So one of the things that I really like about these glass negatives is that a lot of them are just snapshots. They're not formal poses. Some of them are formal, but a lot of them are just random snapshots of family members in the yard and that kind of thing. And this one in particular, the little girl, she's just kind of hanging out there in front of the barn. She'd probably been playing in the yard. But she reminds me of my little girl. I've got a 6-year-old daughter, and I could see her, wearing a dress, playing out in the yard, running in the grass. She still loves lace and pretty things, but she's also the one who brings me dead cicadas when I need them too. So this little girl out in the yard, out in nature, just reminded me a lot of my daughter. So that's one of the things that I like most about this image. And then I have a an attraction to antique and vintage textiles too. I don't think these were handmade. I'm thinking they were probably machine made, but I really like the handmade items. I like the vintage. I like things that have age on them. And I like the contrast in this particular image of, you know, the delicate, beautiful lace and the outdoor barn setting. I just kind of, I found that to be pleasing. That's all.